Okay, so let's get into this story about Elliott with two T's and the latest and stuff that's going on there. So, I already gave my whole breakdown. First of all, I didn't realize that whole segment I did was 30 minutes. I'm going to try not to do it that long this time. But we already pretty much talked about the whole Elliott with two T's story where she went on Joseph Shepard's show. I do want to reiterate something because I feel like I stumbled over my words at one point. I didn't want to make it seem like Joseph reached out to her. Elliott did reach out to Joseph Shepard for the interview at the recommendation of my friend David, who worked on some Joseph Shepard projects. He's also done some shoots and stuff with Elliott with two T's, hence this photo that I'm putting up there. Shout out to my friend David Laugh, who did the photo. So, and this is the outfit she actually wore on the show. So Elliott reached out to him. He did the interview. Some people did not like the interview, including Kandy Muse. We'll get into her stuff in a minute. So we did talk about like how she addressed a lot of the stuff that was going on, where they said that she was a Trump supporter, allegedly. She's made some racist and transphobic comments against some of the cast, including Simone and Gottmik. And Gottmik has said that, yeah, she has said some things that was questionable and inappropriate in the past, but she means her no ill will. But it seems like more or less Kandy has gone harsher on her. And, I guess because even though Tamisha has come out and defended Elliott, Tamisha and Kandy had their own issue with stuff as well. I don't think they're cool, whatever, but they had their beef on the show back then. This was like 3 years ago. So Elliott has come out and said what she said. She did the interview, and some people felt that she did not, in so many ways, take full accountability for the things that she said. And I feel like that, to an extent, that is true. I feel like towards the end of the video, she did take some sort of responsibility, but it did feel like in the beginning there was a lot of excuses being made. I was just young and dumb and all this other stuff. And I think that people wanted more accountability, which I guess is what comes from, like I said, when people always talk about cancel culture, I don't believe in cancel culture. I believe we are in an accountability culture. So people want people held accountable for the things that they've said. So that's where I truly believe they were coming from with that. So I knew, even though I didn't say this, but I said it in my head, where sometimes I feel like when I really want to push things forward, maybe I should say the things that's in my head versus holding it in. And then when it happens, it's like, damn, I should have said that so people know, like. So Kandy has weighed in. And so they said that various queens from Drag Race Season 13 have discussed their issues, as you know, with Elliott with two T's. Shout out to Al for putting this story together, who placed ninth on the competition and made a few problematic remarks over the years. Now, in the interview with Exposed with Joseph Shepard, shared on Monday, July 15th, Elliott talked about her side of the story and tried to explain what was going through her head when she made certain remarks. Now, a few hours after the interview went live on YouTube, Kandy Muse shared a couple of X posts reacting to Elliott's statements on Exposed. The season 13 and All Stars 8 finalists wrote the following. They said, hold on, because let me pull that open. Going on a podcast and asking for an interview 4 years later to make yourself the victim and still not take responsibility for the shit you said and did on set is whack. Joseph, take the L on that whack ass interview. No one told me anything, babes. There's literal footage of me calling you out on Untucked. Enough with this topic. I'm done beating a dead horse. And some people was in the comments, and we'll get to the other stuff and the rest of what was said. But I'm seeing Kamala 2024 and Scream 7 trending. Let's focus. And Eternals. Someone asked Kandy, did you manage to sit through the full hour? And then someone put, seeing that he interviewed her and scroll right past all shade. Another person put, why are people still promoting her? So disappointed in Joseph. Double TT. Neither of which stand for talent. Clearly hasn't learned from what she said. So why are we even bothering? Then someone asked, I need to know the lore of Elliott. Then said, girl, what about the rest of the top four? Y'all didn't like Elliott, and anything Elliott would get on your nerves, and the rest of the top four was so scared to bring it up to Elliott. Y'all mad Elliott finally spoke out for the first time while all y'all have done podcasts, gigs shading Elliott. And that is true. Like, a lot of them have consistently gone around talking about Elliott with two T's. A lot of people have gone on podcasts and said so much, and Elliott did not get to tell her side of the story. And I feel like this was the opportunity for Elliott to go on a podcast or Joseph Shepard's show and tell her side of the story. If y'all can run around and saying all the stuff y'all say and say this certain type of narrative, then they have a right to say what they want to say, and you have a right to say what you want to say. Excuse me. But I hope we're getting to a place where we're not constantly doing this whole back and forth ping pong type of thing where Elliott says something, Kandy combats and says something else. Nobody else is speaking up on this. Kandy always feels the need, and I think this has been an ongoing theme, that Kandy consistently gets on social media and has to have something to say about Elliott. Whenever Elliott pops up, she always has to be the spokesperson. Nobody died and made you the spokesbitch for Drag Race, that Drag Race season. You continuously want to jump on social media and give your side of the story. You are not the spokesperson for everybody. If Gottmik wants to come out and tell her side of the story, if so many other queens on the show and Simone and all these other people want to say something, let them say it. You don't need to be the spokesbitch. So, what did I say? Oh, she said, and since you want to talk about no one called you out, baby, don't even try it. And even after your ass blocked me, I still made sure you were included in the group photo at DragCon. That victim complex is dangerous. Now, in the second post, Kandy attached screenshots that show Elliott allegedly leaving a group chat between the queens of Drag Race season 13 after being called out for not taking accountability for her statements. Another screenshot shows that Kandy reacted to getting blocked on Twitter. Sorry, because I almost called it the other thing. And I'm gonna pull that up for y'all. So there's one where it says Human Connections, two queens, real talk about Elliott with two T's, joined by the NAACP, the president of Vegas. And so if y'all could share, that'd be great. Elliott, you haven't reached out to anyone that you've offended on set and / or off, not to explain yourself or apologize to your castmates or your fans. I watched the video and you didn't own up to anything. You didn't apologize about anything. I will absolutely not be sharing this video. So they feel like somebody did a thumbs down, and you can see all the little, letters and stuff of all the queens that's in the group chat. So they feel like the overall argument was it feels performative on Elliott's part. Now you want me to share things because I'm showing y'all that I'm trying to evolve as a human being. And we can admit that white people have something called racial blind spots. And when white people have racial blind spots, yes, sometimes I know we don't want to do it, but sometimes we have to educate and let people know what you're saying is inappropriate. What you're saying is that's not something that you should be saying. You should not be using certain words or microaggressions and stuff. When you say black girl magic, she's giving black girl magic, but it's not too aggressive, or hey, ratchet, as Kandy said. And when you say it's giving black girl magic, like, to me, that's black excellence. That's just like, oh, it's black girl magic, but it's chic. But when you say it's not too aggressive, that means like, oh, you're not trying to be so like very pounce on people and make, I guess, white people feel uncomfortable. That's the way it comes off when you said that. Maybe that's not what you meant, but that's the way it comes across. Like, the one thing about people of color, we've been trained to be able to read into things. Oh, and then I think there was more to the thing, because now I see there was more that was cut off. So, and this is from 2021 May 9th, and they said, when you own up to calling me ghetto, Simone Ratchet, using AAVE, that's African American vernacular. That's basically what that means. On set around POC and asking someone of our castmates what genitals Mick has. Girl, you asked that? I mean, if you're a trans man, obviously you got a cootie cat. But still, that's none of your business, because I don't think they've been able to perfect the whole male penis thing for trans women, trans people, for trans men. Like, when you become a trans woman, we got enough meat and potatoes between me down there where we can get, form it into a coochie. But we don't need to get that. We don't need to go into that whole breakdown. And I don't understand why people are so fixated on genitalia when it comes to being trans. Like, I don't get that. Because it's like, even Republicans be doing that. Whenever you talk trans, they always want to be knowing what's between people's legs. So it said, there is no sense of accountability. I'm not sharing a video where your friends validate your mistakes. And then somebody put LMFAO, child. And then they showed the Elliott Queen blocked you. And it said, someone collect your girl. And then she also showing the proof of Elliott with two T's being included in the group video. So to me, it's just like, you know what? At the end of the day, she's proving to people like, you know what? I don't have to lie in order to remain relevant or to get a rise or whatever the case is. If I'm going to say some shit, I'm going to say some shit. And whether or not y'all think that I need to mind my business or whatever the case is, then I'm gonna just still give y'all the tea, and I'm gonna still say what I'm gonna say regardless. And sometimes I'll be getting, on one hand, I understand like when I said what I said earlier about Candy, but sometimes it's like when there are people that are afraid to come out and say or be the one that come out and say what needs to be said. A lot of times I'll come out and I'll be the defender of the group. Like I'll be the one that take the lashings because some people just don't feel confident enough to be like, or some people just aren't confrontational. So now Out has reached out to Elliott with two T's for comment, and this is what Elliott wrote. Excuse me. I feel like all of a sudden I'm getting my voice. But anyway, so it said, by doing this interview, I've taken accountability by addressing everything head on, and I want to rise above this. It's not about being a victim. I've been a target of hate and abuse for too long. This is something that has deeply affected me, and I just want to use my platform to spread love and kindness. At this point, I've apologized to the best of my abilities and even taken steps to educate myself. Every story has three sides: my side, their side, and the truth. I genuinely want to move past this. I'm not racist or transphobic and do not have the ability to be so in my heart. I wish Kandy all the best, and I forgive her for all the hurt she caused me. However, my name is spelled Elliott with two T's. There are no K's in my name. And so that's what she said. Now, I hope at this point we could all move on as a class because I am sick and tired of, you know, I'm sick and tired of going this whole back and forth with the conversation. Yeah, this is good grist for my mill and all this other stuff, but we can continue to go back and forth with the drag race beefs and all this other stuff. But it comes to a point where we have to be able to be like, you know what? Kandy feels the way she feels. Elliott feels the way she feels. Everybody's standing 10 toes down in how they feel. And if we're not going to have a resolution, then we need to move on as a class, as a bunch of queens, and Kandy go up and do her shows where she's doing her shows, and Elliott do her shows where she's doing her shows. She's got the cruise and all these other things that she has going on, and she can make her coin. But I do feel like at this point, it's like we got to stop. If people say what they said and all this other stuff, we got to stop trying to cancel people over every little thing. So, I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Y'all ready to move on from all this mess? Um, I know I am. So anyway, let me know what y'all think of this story in the comments down below.